I just bought a Lego Grail worth over $3,000 for $60. Did I get scammed? Let's get into it. Welcome back to the show. And if you're watching this live, feel free to reach out in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. In the meantime, I am excited to join you today. I'm really want to get into this. Earlier, just a few weeks ago, I finally got this package from Temu, which is a foreign retailer that's probably spamming your apps on your phone and your email and everywhere else. These guys are over the top with marketing, and I get lots of questions about them. Are they legit or are they not? This is not a sponsored video, um, but I thought let's go ahead and purchase something off there, and why not something I'm interested in? And so I bought a couple of Lego sets from them. The first one is the Cafe Corner set. It is very first Lego modular set. If you're not familiar with the Lego modular collection, this is what they are. It started in 2007, and Cafe Corner was the very first one. Um, I learned about these when the fourth set in the series rolled out, and they release one every year, and I have purchased every one since then. So I have a whole collection of these. It's actually me and my wife like to get it every year. Until this year, they always released on January 1st, and this is the first year they're releasing on December 1st. This year's model is a natural history museum, which is huge, and it's going to be the largest in the series. Um, but but again, I didn't start till 4 of these sets were already out, so I missed the original 3, and boy, they go for a lot of money. This one in particular, you can find on eBay for anywhere from 3,000 on up, and, so you can bet I am not paying that amount of money, for a Lego set. So, um, what attracted me to these, they always remind when I saw them of when I was a kid. I remember going over to my second cousin's house and going into his bedroom and seeing an entire Lego city on his floor with roads and cars and all these buildings. And I always thought to myself, wow, this kid is lucky. I mean, if I was this kid, I would never leave my house. And so now that I'm older, and these buildings are out, gives me the opportunity to relive that childhood and build a city of my own. And so I am really excited to get this open and jump into this. And if you give me 1 second here, I am going to jump over to my open box or build camera, and we will take a look and open this up. So first off, you can see the package, and so already we know we are in a questionable space. Clearly, this is not in the traditional box that you would expect a Lego sets to come in. In fact, there's two sets in this order. One is the Cafe Corner, and the other is the Sanctum Sanctorum Marvel Superheroes playset. So, in in all transparency, these are not sold as quote unquote Lego sets. They are sold by Temu as creative building blocks. And but they clearly are the exact Marvel or Lego sets. So you can pretty much bet these are bootlegs. So how do they look? What is the quality? I'm very interested in seeing. I've had this package sitting here waiting for a couple weeks because I wanted to share it with you all. So let's just get into it and let's get this puppy open. right, so right away we got a couple bags within the bags. First up, let's put this one aside and let's take a look. This looks like to be the Sanctum Sanctorum. You can see we've got a instruction manual here. No box. So we can see from these bags, they're very similar to the Lego bags that you would get in these sets. They are individually numbered, though the numbers are slightly different than how Lego does it with these bright big numbers. But looking at these Lego pieces or these bricks, they look spot on. Like nothing. Just looking at them, they do not look odd or cheap in any way. So let's get these out of the way real quick and take a look at the manual. And of course, the manual's seen better days being jammed into that box, but this is really nice quality. I mean, it is thick. Has a thick cover. It's, of course, bound. It's not cheap in any way. I believe that's even the actual number of the Lego set. Got the exact logo. I mean, this appears to be an exact copy of the official Lego manual. And you can see in here, the inside of the manual is, again, like, this is exactly how they come. I mean, I'm impressed. The printing on this is good. This totally looks, I mean, you'd be hard pressed not to know that this was not an official Lego product. Of course, it's missed the one thing, right? It doesn't have any of the Lego branding anywhere, which is good. I mean, good way to be able to tell it is bootleg is you're missing the branding. So very interesting. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. I mean, it looks great. So let's see the Grail set here. The one I actually ordered these for. Yeah, let's get into it. It's, of course, in its own separate bag. So well, I see all the pieces. Oh, there we go. Well, now this is what I more expected from a not so legit set. As you can see, these sets have a ton of pieces, and again, we see a different style numbering on the bag, so another tell that these are bootlegs. Also, not all bags seem to be numbered. That one is. It's just hard to find. So this should be interesting. Looking quickly for the minifigs. See, here we go. So these original, I believe for a little over the first 10 years, these minifigs only came with the standard smiley face. They promised that with this set, and it looks like the legs are actually in pieces. Um, that they would not use printed faces. That has changed. The ladder sets, when the original designer left, the ladder sets all have more printed faces. In fact, I believe the new the new museum piece is actually uses like the Doc Brown model for the museum curator. So that's one of the interesting things about uh, these modular sets is they reuse pieces and unique pieces and colors from sets that are currently in production to build these and design these modular buildings. So they don't have to make anything new, but because of that, it makes the pieces used in the building extremely hard to get a hold of. They use a lot of rare pieces and in ingenuitive ways. On this particular model, there's a design on the front of the entrance of the hotel that is a kind of a fan design of an arch. Well, those are actually a whole series of skis that they put together to make that design. So it's pretty interesting what they do. And as you can see, now this is not the kind of Lego product book that you would get. Normally these modular sets come with a big thick book like the one we just saw. This one clearly doesn't even have a cover. Now, I don't have this original Corner Cafe set myself, so maybe it did come like this back then. I would think that's odd because none of the other ones I have are like this. I mean, this is printed on decent paper, but it is by no means the quality of the assembly book that you get today. It is still the inside looks the same. This is typically what you would expect from these, and you know, it's going on 16 years since this set came out. So, granted, things have changed since then. And again, here's what I talked about, where they use the skis to make this arch. It's interesting the color used in here. Uh, Not what I expected. You know, because the building does look red, but in all the photos, but perhaps that bottom layer is blue. I just never noticed because the rest of this looks spot on. So yeah, it looks right. So it's blue, and I just didn't pay enough attention. But so pretty interesting. So here's what our final product will look like. Which is exactly what we'd expect. So I'm pretty excited. I'm gonna just open one of these, and let me open an early one. Actually, I got some. So typically on a real Lego, oh yeah, you can really tell on the bottom. There's these nubs on the bottom. This is not flat. This is definitely not the quality of a base piece you get from a real Lego set. You can see all these old. I will tell. There's these nubs are sticking up in addition to the holes. Or when a real base plate looks more like this on the bottom. So this is definitely something different. Just open one of these bags then. This doesn't, that's a number 3. I could dig around here and find a number 1, but I'll probably be digging all day. So there's our pieces, and again, got some more tells. There's some imperfections or some tooling marks. We've got a couple dents in the top of some of these pegs, and of course, the where you would see the traditional Lego logo specific periodically put out is absent. So there are some telltale signs that these are not indeed official, which is again, and there's our 2 tooling marks again. So which is good because if you're going to buy uh, um, an unofficial set, you know, hopefully people can't pass these off as the real thing. A lot of collectors, what they'll do with some of these retired sets that you can't get anymore is they'll try to piece it out on various brick sites where you can buy the individual pieces. But again, some of these pieces that are used in these are very rare, so they end up being very expensive. And while you can likely build the cafe corner for a whole lot less than paying 3,000 new, and then you can get the PDF manuals to assemble it, it's still going to be very expensive because you're sourcing all these pieces from many different private sellers. It takes a while, even when you're using one of these sites, to load up all the pieces you need for a particular set. And then, of course, you got to wait for them to get there and hope everybody shipped your order completely. But yeah, I mean, it snaps together well. That was one of the things I was concerned with is, are we going to have the quality? And it sure looks, I mean, it, they feel just as good. They don't feel cheap. They feel exactly like the real thing. So, uh, companies are able to at least make these pieces and do this because the basic design is not patented. So there's a lot of companies, I'm sure you've seen these like Mega Blocks and all these other ones. They all release these because this design, because Lego made a perfect design, but it's not protected, or if it was protected at one point, it's expired. But I believe it just wasn't protected to begin with. So that's that. I mean, this is pretty cool. I'm excited to put this together. When I do, I'll share it with you all just so you can see the finished product. These modular sets generally are very precise, high quality sets. So I'm interested in, and of course, I covered my area where to move to. Uh, these sets are really high quality. They fit together well. And some of the things I've read about some of these bootleg sets is generally they don't go together well. So I'll be really interested in checking that out, seeing what that ends up with. That's what I got on that. Didn't take too long. So let's talk about something else. We're we're just rolling with it today. So let's talk about some different subjects. So one of the things I wanted to share with you all is my new internet. So a couple weeks ago, I ordered. I've been using Google Fiber since about first I could get it when it came to Kansas City. It was we were the launch city for their fiber project, and of course that got us a lot of buzz, and a lot of startups and things like that came to Kansas City to take advantage of this low cost fiber internet. And thanks to Google now, gigabit internet is pretty much everywhere, or at least in all major cities at this point. Google, Comcast, um, Time Warner, whatever their name is now. I'm drawing a blank on what they renamed themselves at Time Warner Cable. Uh, they all offer some form of gigabit or near gigabit. But the nice thing about Google Fiber, it is symmetric, so it's 1 gig up, 1 gig down. As I said, I've been using that for years at this point. So a few weeks ago, they send me an email and they say, "Hey, we now have 5 gigs available in your area," and they've had 2 gig for a while, and I never saw value in going to 2 gigs. 1 gig is enough. But when they said, "Hey, for $50 more a month, you can have 5 gigs," suddenly I'm like, "Oh, I'm pretty interested. I want to check that out." And I went ahead and signed up. It came with a new router, so it comes with a router that has a couple 10 gig ports, and then it comes with, of course, Wi-Fi, an enhanced Wi-Fi. It comes with 2 Wi-Fi extenders. That's free. It also is no contract, so I got all that equipment. They came and did the install because they have to they take out the old fiber jack and put in a new 10 gig fiber jack. Then, um, then it's up to you, right? So it's great that you have 5 gig, but let's face it, most computers, most devices don't support more than 1 gig. So my gaming PC already had a 2.5 gig Ethernet adapter in it, so that was ready to go. My streaming PC did not, so I went out and bought an adapter that has a 10 gig PCI adapter, and so I installed that. I got a 10 gig switch so that I can connect all these devices. And it wasn't a horribly expensive switch. So it's got a couple 10 gig ports. All the rest are 2.5 gig. Again, most devices I have are all 1 gig max anyway. But the two devices I have that I really want that more speed on, they now have it. And so why not? Let's just take a few minutes here and I'll do this live on stream. I don't know how well this is will work while I'm streaming, but let's just jump into a speed test. I've done several of these throughout having it. I am routinely getting 5 gigs, sometimes over 5 gig, both up and down, and it's been great. I can tell the difference in certain areas. Some things right go there just simply aren't uh, they're not gonna support that as you go over the internet. It's just the reality of the situation. So let's take a look here at we're at speedtest.net. If you're not familiar, this is the go-to, has been for years and years and years for testing your speed on the internet. You can target different servers and different locations and test your speeds all over. It's just fun to see what you have. So let's just hit it and see what we get. So you can see I'm streaming right now. We're getting, it's climbing up. We're at 2.5 gig already, getting up into that 3 gig range. And that's probably where it's going to cap. So we're a little around 3 gigs during that test. This is the upload side of things. We're up at 3.5, now hitting 4 gigs, and we're still climbing on our way. And so that got to 4.2. Okay, thanks for the ad. I'm glad. Anyway, so that's kind of an example. Like that's just off this PC. So the great thing about having the 5 gigs is you can have a bunch of things going at once, right? And hit that 5 gig max, and it's not going to affect any individual thing. It's really got me wanting to set up some sort of Plex or streaming server in the house. Not only now can I take advantage of all these wired devices at 10 gig, or 2.5 gig, depending on the device. But then I can stream and share with other people and have plenty of bandwidth. Uh, let me see. I have some photos from prior speed tests so that I can show you. Hey, it's not a. Let's see. Yes, that's for sure. So while I'm pulling that up, again, I want to thank you for being here. If you enjoy this content or just hanging out, I go every Saturday at 9:30, just to talk about whatever's going on. So we'll talk about home arcade news, maybe some retro stuff. This week is Lego and speed tests. I love AI, so I talk a lot about AI. I thought about doing a show on how I automate using AI tools. Maybe we'll do that in a future one. Go jump over here. I dug out this picture, so let's. That work. So let's So this is I did this while I was working a week or so ago to show some of my peers. So as you can see, got at the time 5.2 on the download and 4.3 up. Typically on the up, I'll see around 4.6, 4.7, 4.8, which is just unheard of from an upload speed. So yeah, I mean, hopefully this stuff comes across to YouTube and everything with like super high quality streams because there's no excuse from my end as far as like the amount of data I'm able to send. So that's what we got there. I wanted to share that with you. At some point I'll figure out how to demo that better. It also getting good ping, so it's been great for gaming. I've not really seen a change there. I already had gigabit internet, so it was already running really well on the ping rates, and latency is really low. So I'm excited about that. Yeah, I mean, so that's pretty much what I got. Um, Glad you stuck around. If you're watching this, appreciate you joining. If you're seeing this in a replay, I hope you'll give us a like if you enjoyed the content. You'll hit subscribe if you want to see more shows like this, more content like this. I dropped a earlier this week. I dropped a update on Polymega, so if you're a subscriber on those, hopefully or a pre-order on those, like all of us have been waiting years to get ours. Hopefully there's a light at the end of the tunnel, so check that out for that news. Also this week, we released a little bit of a glimpse at a leaked Arcade 1-Up Alien versus Predator cabinet that was leaked by fellow YouTuber Big Reese early yesterday morning. He's in Arizona, so he released it, in the wee hours of Friday morning. And so I shared that out not long after. So if you were interested in seeing that, take a look. Big Reese's video was taken down at the request of Arcade 1-Up. So we don't know if it's legit or not. Chances are, if Arcade 1-Up did ask him to take it down, like he says, then it is likely legit, right? And they're worried that it might endanger, or they don't have the licensing yet, or something like that. And so they don't want to put their relationship with Capcom at risk over that cab. But it's pretty interesting for people who've been waiting for that game, and it's a 3-player cabinet. The art on it looks great. It's a cabinet design, the big blue, I'm not a big fan of, but it does look good, and it is fairly good replica of the big blue versions that were out there. There's another, like, what they call Big Blue 2 that Alien vs. Predator in was probably part of more often. But this one, you can still find legitimate big cabs with Alien vs. Predator on it. So it sticks to at least some legitimate release there. So again, hope you'll like this video. Leave a comment if you've purchased from Temu before, or if you're questioning about Temu. I can tell you that it is legitimate. They sell various electronics, clothes, all kinds of stuff. Clearly, they also have a lot of bootleg stuff on there. Usually, it's noted when it's a bootleg. If you're getting something like a Nintendo Switch on there, right? You can get a Nintendo Switch and other Nintendo games for pretty good discount, brand new, compared to what you can get at any United States real American retailer. The difference there is you're not going to get the US or North American release of those products. What you end up getting is the Hong Kong release or the Korean release, where it's 100% identical. It works here. All the You can get US language on those Switch games. So you won't be able to tell any difference. That you might have a different marker on the package that about the what is it, the rating, like the ESRB rating kind of thing for gaming. Um, so sometimes it's worth it to save some money. Like I'm pretty excited to get into this Lego set, or this creative building block set, because I really want to add the corner cafe to my collection, and I will get to do that. I probably wouldn't buy these sets for little kids. They are knockoffs, so who knows what materials are actually being used in them or what dyes, things like that. So, you know, take that into account. But if you're an adult and a collector, there's nothing wrong with some of these. There may be an ethical blurry line when it comes to reproducing authentic Lego sets and other licensed IPs like this Marvel set. Um, I won't make any judgment on that. I threw this one on there just to see. I don't not necessarily a collector of Marvel Lego sets. I don't have any. I just wanted to see what they look like. Also, there is a Sanctum Sanctorum set that is kind of a modular building adjacent set. It can connect up to the modulars, and that's what I was looking for. And I didn't really. I saw this one. I knew it wasn't that, but it was close enough. I figured whatever. I'll get it and see what it looks like. Again, these were fairly cheap, so not especially compared to their counterparts. I think the other one was like less than $40, and that set normally is a 200. I'll update you when I have that, and I'll quit rambling, and I'll see you next time. And really appreciate it, the like and subscribe and all that stuff. I'm really trying to get to 500 so that we can start really pushing these into the algorithm. But again, thanks for joining. If there's any topics or anything you're interested in hearing about, let me know. Again, I I love talking about AI. I haven't done a ton on my channel, but I've got several that I want to talk about. There was some huge AI news this week. ChatGPT's multimodal models coming out. As soon as they enable that for me on my account, I will definitely be showing that off because it is slick. Uh, now, you could probably already play with a few AIs. I know Meta released their generative image AI within Messenger uh, just earlier this week. So if you have the Facebook Messenger, you can actually generate images within that. They do watermark every image with the Meta one, so it becomes somewhat less useful. If you want to use them in some creative pieces, you have to leave the watermark or work around it. But it seems to be pretty good. Trying to think, there's a couple other big news, but those are really probably the biggest. I mean, Apple finally, and they had some of their announcements earlier this week with their new M3 processors, where they're talking about a lot about AI. Finally, that between them and Amazon, they've been pretty quiet over the last year in this generative AI race. So it'll be interesting to see how they both really try to catch up and get into the same conversation with OpenAI and Anthropic and Google and Microsoft. But we will see. So again, thanks for joining. Have a great night, and I'll catch you in the next one.